something simple, yet life-changing. Your habits are the blueprint of your life. Every single thing you do, whether it's conscious or automatic, shaping who you are becoming. And what's even more powerful is that you're not even aware of most of it. You wake up, you go about your day, and you think you're making choices. But in truth, most of the time, your habits are choosing for you. Think about your morning routine. Do you reach for your phone the moment you wake up? Do you snooze your alarm multiple times? Do you scroll mindlessly through social media before getting out of bed? These don't seem like big decisions in the moment, but repeat them every single day for a year, and they become part of who you are. That's how habits work. They're invisible, silent builders of your reality. You don't notice them at first, but they construct the entire architecture of your life. If your life feels stuck, uninspired, or directionless, it's not because you lack potential. It's not even because you lack motivation. It's because your habits are aligned with your past, not your future. Trained your body and mind to follow a familiar pattern. That pattern is called your comfort zone. But the truth is your comfort zone is not comfortable at all. It's just familiar. You might be struggling in that zone, but your habits pull you back in because the mind always chooses the familiar over the unfamiliar. Now here's the deeper truth. Every result in your life is a direct reflection of your habits. Your income, your relationships, your health, your mindset, none of it is random. It's cause and effect. And the cause, that's the small decisions you make every single day without even thinking about them. Your habits are not just routines, they are automated decisions. And these decisions shape your entire identity. That's why when people try to change their lives by setting goals, they often fail. It's not the goal that's the problem. It's that the habits don't align with the goal. You say you want to be healthy, but your habits keep taking you to fast food. You say you want to be wealthy, but your habits make you spend impulsively. The goal sounds good. Your habits are the real driver behind the wheel. So if you truly want to change your life, you must go to the source. You must go to the system that's running your life without your permission. You must rewire your habits. And it starts with awareness. Just being conscious of the patterns you've been running on is the first step toward breaking free. You have to look at your daily behaviors with honesty, not judgment, and ask yourself, are these actions taking me closer to the life I want or keeping me trapped in the life I have? Remember, no one builds a dream life by accident. It's built brick by brick, and those bricks are your habits. Change your habits and you'll change your trajectory. Not overnight, but consistently, surely, and permanently. That's the real power you hold in your hands. You don't need permission. You don't need perfection. You just need new patterns, and that begins today. If you've ever tried to change your life and found yourself falling back into the same patterns, you're not alone, and there's a powerful reason why that happens. It's because real, lasting change doesn't begin on the surface. It starts deep within your mind, specifically with what Bob Proctor calls your paradigm, your mental programming. And at the heart of every paradigm are your habits. You see, your paradigm is like the operating system of your life. It's a collection of beliefs, behaviors, and emotional patterns that run automatically. You don't question them, you don't notice them, and you don't even realize they're running the show. They've been installed in you since childhood through repetition, experience, culture, and environment. And unless you deliberately interrupt them, they'll keep repeating for the rest of your life. Now, here's what most people don't realize. You can't change your paradigm by reading a book or watching a video once. You change it by shifting the habits that hold that paradigm in place. Because every paradigm is protected and reinforced by repeated behavior. When you change a habit, you are actually starting to rewire the deeper program itself. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine someone has a paradigm that says, I'm not good with money. That's not just a thought, it's a deeply rooted belief. And that belief produces habits like overspending, avoiding budgeting, fearing financial responsibility. They don't even notice those habits because the paradigm is making those behaviors feel natural. If that person tries to get rich without changing that core belief, nothing will work. They'll sabotage their own efforts. Why? Because their habits are still being controlled by the same old paradigm. This is why most people stay stuck. They try to change their life without changing their habits. And they try to change their habits without understanding the paradigm that's holding them in place. It's like cutting weeds without pulling out the roots. The change is temporary. The old patterns return. But here's the good news. Just as your paradigm was created through repetition, it can be changed the same way. When you intentionally repeat a new habit, like waking up early, meditating, journaling, eating clean, or saving money, you are feeding a new program to your subconscious mind. At first, it feels unnatural. Your old paradigm will resist. It'll whisper things like, "This isn't you," or "You've tried this before and failed." But the longer you stick with it, the weaker the old paradigm becomes. Over time, your new habit becomes normal. And that's the moment the shift happens. That's when you stop fighting for change and start living it. You've moved from trying to force a new behavior to becoming someone who lives it effortlessly. That's how you know the paradigm is changing. So don't just focus on the big goal. Focus on the habit that leads to that goal. Don't worry about becoming a new person overnight. Focus on installing one new habit that aligns with the version of you that already lives that life. The version of you that's focused, disciplined, confident, calm, and successful. What habits would they have? Start there. Start acting as if. Because every time you repeat a better habit, you're feeding a better paradigm. This is not theory. This is how change actually happens. Not in some distant future, but right here in your next decision, your next action, your next habit. Change your habits, and you'll change the very program that's been holding you back. When people think about changing their life, they often imagine one big breakthrough moment, something dramatic, something instant. But that's not how transformation actually works. True, lasting change is not about doing something massive one time. It's about doing something small consistently over time. And that's the secret most people overlook. Small daily changes done with intention create massive life transformation. Let me ask you, what's easier, changing everything at once or changing one thing and doing it every day for a month? The answer is obvious, but still most people try to flip their whole life upside down in one go. They set huge goals, make long lists, promise themselves they'll change everything on Monday. But by Friday, they're back to old patterns. Why? Because they overloaded themselves instead of committing to one small, powerful change that could actually stick. See, it's not about how much you do in one day. It's about what you do every day. That's the power of compounding habits. If you improve just 1% a day, just a little bit, you'll be 37 times better in a year. That's the math. But in real life, it feels even more powerful because your confidence builds with each small win. Confidence changes everything. Let's say you decide to start journaling for 5 minutes every morning. That's not a huge action. It doesn't take willpower like running 10 miles or working 16 hours. That one small habit begins to center your mind, clear your thoughts, and give you clarity. Do it every day for 30 days. And now, without even realizing it, you've shifted your mindset, proven to yourself that you can be consistent. And that's the real win. Or maybe it's reading 10 pages a day, not a whole book, not a full chapter, just 10 pages. That's about 15 minutes. But in a year, that's 12 of 15 full books on mindset, growth, purpose, or business. Think about how that knowledge compounds over time. Think about how it begins to shape your decisions, your language, your energy. A better version of you isn't born from one big leap. It's built quietly through daily effort. And here's what most people don't realize. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you are rebuilding your identity. You're telling your subconscious, I am someone who shows up. I am someone who follows through. And slowly but surely, your self-image begins to shift. You stop saying things like, I'm lazy, or I always give up, because your actions are proving otherwise. This is how new habits create new beliefs, and new beliefs create a new life. And yes, at first it's uncomfortable. Your brain resists, your body complains. You'll feel the urge to skip, to delay, talk yourself out of it. But if you push through just the beginning stage, the first few days or weeks, you'll cross the threshold. That's when the habit starts to feel natural, starts to feel like you. That's when momentum kicks in. And momentum is your greatest ally in personal growth. This is why I always say success isn't about doing extraordinary things. It's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well, consistently. And consistency isn't born from motivation. It's born from habits. That's why small daily actions are not small at all. They are the foundation of the person you are becoming. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait to feel ready. Just start with something small, something simple, something you can do every day. Because that tiny action, repeated with intention, is the spark that ignites everything else. If you want to change your habits, you first have to understand one powerful truth. Your mindset is the control center of your habits. The way you think, the beliefs you hold, the story you tell yourself, the identity you've accepted, determines every action you take. Most people try to change their behavior without changing their thinking, and that's why the change never lasts. It's like trying to grow a new tree with the same old rotten roots. No matter what you plant on the surface, it won't survive if the foundation underneath hasn't changed. Let's be honest, everything you do, whether it's helpful or harmful, begins with a thought. You believe you're not good enough, you're going to act like you're not good enough. You'll avoid opportunities. You'll sabotage your progress. You'll shrink back instead of stepping up, not because you can't succeed, but because your mindset won't allow your habits to grow past a certain limit. This is where most people stay stuck. They try to install new habits on top of a broken belief system. You can't hold on to the identity of someone who fails and expect to behave like someone who wins. You have to start at the root. You have to change how you see yourself. Now, I'm not talking about positive thinking or wishful affirmations that you don't really believe. I'm talking about shifting your self-image at the core. If you've been telling yourself, I'm not disciplined, or I always quit, or I'm not the type of person who sticks with things, then those are not just words, they are commands to your brain, and your brain will obey them. Why? Because your subconscious mind always works to protect the image you hold of yourself, even if that image is holding you back. But the beautiful thing is this: you can change your self-image. You can decide right now to start speaking and acting like the person you want to become. And the fastest way to do that is through habits. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, you are casting a vote for a new identity. You're saying, this is who I am now. One workout doesn't make you an athlete, but every time you show up, you're becoming one. 1 hour of focus doesn't make you productive, but repeat it and your brain starts believing it. That's why mindset and habits are deeply connected. Your mindset shapes your habits. Your habits also shape your mindset. It's a two-way street. The more you follow through on good habits, the more confidence you build. The more confidence you build, the more you start to believe you're capable. And the more you believe you're capable, the more powerful your habits become. It's a cycle, a powerful, life-changing cycle. And here's something most people don't tell you. You don't need to believe 100% in your new identity right away. You just need to believe enough to act, enough to take that first step, because action creates evidence, and evidence builds belief. So even if your mind is full of doubt, if you can get your body to take that small, consistent action, your mindset will begin to shift naturally. That's how you break out of the old loop and enter a new one. So if you want to change your habits, start by upgrading your mindset. Start by seeing yourself differently, not as someone trying to change, as someone becoming. You're not fixing a broken version of yourself. You're unfolding a more powerful version that was already within you. That shift from trying to change to stepping into who you truly are is where the real transformation begins. We all love the idea of motivation. That rush of energy, that surge of inspiration when we watch a powerful video, read a great quote, or hear a story that lights a fire inside us. But here's the truth: motivation is not enough. It might get you going, it won't keep you going. Because motivation is emotional and emotions change. Some days you feel fired up and some days you just don't. And that's exactly why discipline is the real game changer. Discipline is the bridge between desire and habit. You can want change. You can dream about success. You can talk about goals all day long. None of that matters if you don't have the discipline to take consistent action, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. That's where the real transformation happens. Not when it's easy, when it's hard and you still show up. That moment you wake up and want to hit snooze, but get up anyway. That moment you want to skip the workout, but do it anyway. That moment you want to procrastinate, but you choose to move forward anyway. Those moments are where new habits are born. See, discipline isn't about being perfect. It's not about becoming robotic. It's about making a decision and honoring it even when the excitement wears off. That's how strong habits are built. Repetition during resistance. Showing up when your old self is begging you to quit. That's when you break the cycle. That's when your brain starts to believe you're serious, and belief is everything. Now let me explain something powerful. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of confidence. You begin to feel capable, in control, unshakable. But the opposite is also true. Every time you break that promise, your brain records it, starts to doubt you, and that's where the cycle of guilt, frustration, and self-sabotage begins. So don't underestimate even the smallest win. Doing something difficult because you said you would is how you rewire your identity. And here's what's really interesting: the more you practice discipline, the less energy it takes. It becomes part of who you are. At first it's effort, then it becomes routine, then it becomes natural. That's the magic of discipline turning into habit. That's when the resistance fades. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop waiting for the right mood. You just do it. That's power. And let's be clear, discipline is not about punishment. It's not about forcing yourself into a rigid life with no joy. Real discipline is a form of self-love. It's saying, I care about my future more than I care about temporary comfort. It's choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term ease. And every time you do that, you're shaping a stronger, more focused, more unstoppable version of you. Because when motivation dies out, and it will, it's your discipline that will carry you forward. It's your ability to follow through on your habits, even when no one is watching, that will separate you from the average. Discipline is what takes your vision from fantasy to reality. So ask yourself, what promise can I keep today? What action can I take? Not because I feel like it, but because I decided to. That single step done with discipline is how you build the life you say you want. One of the biggest breakthroughs you can ever have in your personal growth journey is this: you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. That means if you want real, lasting change, it's not just about changing your habits. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally lives those habits. That shift from doing to being is where everything changes. A lot of people try to force new habits into their life like it's a task list. They try to wake up early, eat healthy, work hard, stay focused, all with willpower alone. But eventually they slip. Why? Because deep down, they still see themselves as the old version of who they used to be. They haven't let go of that identity. They're doing new things, but still thinking the old way. And the old identity always wins in the long run. Let me give you an example. If someone sees themselves as a procrastinator, no matter how many time management tools they use or how many productivity hacks they try, they'll keep finding ways to delay because their self-image isn't aligned with the new behavior. On the flip side, if you begin to see yourself as a focused and intentional person, then your actions will naturally begin to reflect that identity. You'll start doing the right things, not because you have to, but because it feels like who you are. That's the power of identity-based habits. You're not just trying to act successful. You're becoming the person who lives in alignment with success. The habits aren't external tools anymore. They become internal expressions of your character. This is how real transformation takes place. It's no longer about discipline alone. It's about identity, purpose alignment. And here's how you start. Ask yourself, who is the person I want to become? Describe them. How do they speak? How do they move? What choices do they make in the smallest parts of their day? Then start living as if you already are that person, not one day in the future, today. Each small action is a vote for that new version of you. You want to be confident. Do what a confident person would do. You want to be wealthy. Start behaving like someone who respects money. You want to be healthy. Think, eat, and move like someone who honors their body. It's not about pretending. It's about practicing. And with each repetition, your mind begins to catch up. Your self-image evolves. You start feeling different, acting different, and attracting different results. This is why so many people fail to stick with change. They're working against their identity instead of building with it. The more your habits reflect the person you believe yourself to be, the more automatic they become. That's how habits stick. That's how you go from forcing change to embodying it. So stop just trying to change your behavior. Start changing who you believe you are. Because when your habits align with your identity, success doesn't feel like a fight. It feels like home.